feature presentation.
Greg, Clarence, thank you so much for taking the time to talk to me. I really appreciate it. I'm still thinking about Sing Sing after having
Mhm.
watched the press screening, thinking about unity and solidarity and
Mhm.
compassion and curiosity for one another. One thing I'm really curious about for both of you to maybe to discuss, what did it mean to you both to screen the film at Sing Sing? And how important is it to consider incarcerated people as an audience for the movie?
Clarence?
Well, I think it was totally significant for several reasons and on several different levels. Because uh, the message that the brothers needed to see, and it had to come from somebody who also walked those corridors and sat in those mess halls. You know what I mean? And at times was locked in for periods of time on timeouts or whatever. But I share the same background. I know that history. I know what it is. And for them to see that, you know what I mean? This ain't the end. This is not, there's life after this. After this lowest low in your life right here, there's life after this. However, you're gonna have to want it. Ain't nothing nobody gonna give you. You're gonna have to stand up, be accountable, and we can't let the department correct our behavior because we're grown people. We're gonna have to take accountability at some level and say, yo, listen, no matter whatever I'm here for, I don't know, whatever anyone's in jail for, whatever, or whoever finds themselves at their lowest low.
Mhm.
You don't have to be in prison. You know what I mean? There's many prisons. A lot of you locked out here, but locked into ideals, locked into prejudices and biases. A lot of dudes get locked into that. However, whatever it is, there's a way out. There's a way up. There's a there's a light at the end of every tunnel. You ain't got to stay right here, but you're gonna have to choose to get up.
Yeah. No, I mean, and Clarence as well as Dino and several of our other cast were there in that room, and the strength of what he's saying of being able to sit on that stage and look directly at this audience and encourage and inspire was really palpable. It also was so surreal, to be playing a movie on the same stage that the work that it's about happened on, and and in front of current members of the program who are actively doing this work. I mean, from our standpoint, it was the most important audience in the world for this, and our alumni cast, including Clarence, have made it a high priority to bring this movie to prisons all over our country and hopefully
Yes,
beyond our borders. And not only to
yes.
show the movie, but be there in the room to once again convey that directly to that audience.
Did you see the movie differently after having watched it in Sing Sing?
Without question. I mean, mainly just because we've screened this extensively, in the lead up to this release. We've been in the room with audiences everywhere, all over the country. We were in Toronto for our world premiere, and we know what's beautiful about when you do it that often and you're actually there for it is you realize how much of a shared experience watching a movie can be. So the things that hit everywhere, and that was the case inside Sing Sing, but there were also things that hit different because
In
the
sync.
audience that was in it was living it, and I think the most pronounced one was, without going into spoilers, just a depiction of what freedom will feel like one day. And when we got to that in the movie, you just felt everyone there yearning for that fresh air again. And that was very emotional for all of us. Would you add anything to that, Clarence?
Yes, that was definitely the part that uh had even missed me. I didn't realize how significant that was until we showed it to the Sing Sing because it had missed me that part because I've been breathing this good air so long.
Mhm.
I've been out for a little while now. I might be a little desensitized to that, but when I saw it, it brought me right back to yearning for that air. Yeah.
That's incredible. A question that Greg, you just touched upon, the reaction at TIFF was incredible. to the point where I was so regretful of missing it at that screening. And so I wanted to ask both of you, do you think that when Shakespeare or other theatrical productions are taken out of an elite or academic context, there's a different reaction to the medium that entices a wider audience?
Well,
Go ahead.
all right. Well, I think that the way Shakespeare or any play or any act of an exchange between a
Oh, you just hit mute, Clarence.
we're living in. You know what I mean? Because if you deliver it in a time that's out of time, then the message won't be received the same. You know, but if you deliver it to people that are living, because all this art is being lived right now. Shakespeare art, Sophocles art, all of it is being lived in a societal way right now. But it may need art to point out what's not needed, or what's not needed, because we already see the outcome through art. You know.
Mm-hmm. It's funny because we have kind of presented these stage works in a very specific context for a long time, and therefore like created an expectation that this is how it should be viewed. It should be viewed with a $600 Broadway ticket, and like and it's like kind of trying to limit access in that way. And we're used to a certain kind of person on that stage saying these lines and with this kind of accent and this kind of voice. But I would venture to say, particularly with Clarence's rendering of the Hamlet soliloquy at the Cora's film, I don't know that anyone's done it better since those words were first written down, hundreds of years ago. And that's all the evidence I think I need to see that like we need to expand our view of who can access these words and present them to us, because I think we have a lot to learn from these performances and from what Clarence did.
Absolutely. And I was listening to an interview, a past interview where Clarence was talking a little bit about past work as well. And it makes me want to see your Oedipus Rex on stage or on screen, like it just is so exciting. Greg, I was curious because the movie is so compassionate and curious. And I know that you spent 8 years working on the film. There's this conversation right now where feels like there's this new generation of cinema verite docudrama filmmakers, everyone from Chloe Zhao to Sean Baker, Clint Bentley, who is your co-writer and producer for Jockey. I wanted to know if you see yourself as a docudrama filmmaker or in that group. And I was also curious to know if Jonathan Demme was an inspiration in terms of some of the camera shots. There's a beautiful moment right at the beginning of the film with Coleman Domingo looking right out to the audience that reminded me so much of what Jonathan Demme brought to the cinema landscape over, the years that he was working.
Oh, that's a great question. I mean, I think any work that we do, we're standing on the shoulders of the people who came before us. That's the beauty of the artistic process is the shared DNA like across time, and across artistic expression. And so, I mean, I wasn't channeling so much Jonathan Demme directly. Maybe Pat Scola, our cinematographer, was, but I mean, I remember being in a theater seeing Chloe Zhao's film The Rider and felt that it was a transcendent experience, and is looking at the alchemy of bringing storytelling, like the hybridization of storytelling, of like allowing the world to sort of step into the process and storytelling, and to dance with what's unfolding in front of your eyes. Now, I mean, actually, one of my great influences was Y Tu Mama Tambien, by Alfonso Cuarón, I saw it right at like a very pivotal moment of like becoming a filmmaker. It was one of the, right as I was entering this business, like that movie came out and I was like, you can make movies like that, And and I think that term of like letting the world breathe into a story is something that we're very conscious of in the process. And not, again, it's not, it's about not squeezing the life out of like what a moment is, but like to have a vision, have intention, but then also have your hands open when you're going into the process, and listen to what the movie will speak to you if you listen to it. And that was really kind of something that we've evolved and developed in my process in collaborating with Clint, that I bore witness to, as you said, in making Jockey. And I'm careful though not to label it too specifically though, because it's so, like you hear a docudrama and it's like, okay, yeah, that's in there, but I don't know fully what it is that we made. I think it's going to take years for me to actually understand
Well,
everything that came into this piece.
it's even what Clarence was saying, where like if you define something or put it into a box, you limit what it can be. And I
Right.
think that's a conversation in itself that this movie is having. And Clarence, award season at the end of the year, I think you'll probably be nominated for many, many awards, and deservedly so, because I just could not take I could not take my eyes off of your performance. It's incredible in terms of just the internal work that you're doing. And so I just wanted to ask, what do you want your narrative to be moving forward, or do you want there to be a narrative? Because I feel like, a lot of people will talk about your work in the same way as someone like Harold Russell in The Best Years of Our Lives, or Dr. Hang S. Noor in The Killing Fields. But I think, like, again, it's really up to the individual to make the decision and to move forward that way. So I'm just curious about, like, what do you want moving forward?
I want to be I want to be an influence in a positive direction for everything attached to what we do. You know what I mean? I think if the model that Greg, Monique, and Clint created is what was needed for more heart and soul to be poured into every project, well, then let's do the model. Or let's get back to telling storytelling. Let's get back to storytelling to where it serves, where it doesn't just entertain. You know what I mean? I want to serve, bro. I'm here to serve.
Well, on that note, I really appreciate both of you taking the time to talk to me about Sing Sing. It's been a really wonderful experience, and the movie's great. So thank you so much.
Pleasure.